Hey, I'm David from Boston, Massachusetts. I work as an architect and I graduated from Boston Architectural College. Lately, some stuff went down in my life that totally shook up my family dynamic, and it made me realize that being too possessive isn't always cool and can actually mess things up big time. I'm from Dallas originally, but I ended up going to Boston for college and just stuck around there. I'm an only child, and when I was around 12, my dad died in a terrible car accident. I was really close to my dad, and so when he died, it felt like my whole world got flipped upside down. After Dad passed, my mom, Susan, had to raise me solo. But grief changed her in ways I couldn't believe. Sometimes she would hold on to me so tight it was hard to breathe, like she was scared I would vanish like Dad did. "Hey Mom, I'm heading out to meet up with some friends." "No, David, you can't go out tonight. It is not safe." "Mom, we are just going to grab some food and hang out at Alex's place. It is no big deal." "I don't care. I don't want you to leave the house. You need to stay here where I can keep an eye on you." "Mom, come on. I'm not a kid anymore. I can take care of myself." "You don't understand, David. I can't lose you too. Please, just stay home tonight." "Mom, I know you are worried, but I can't stay cooped up in the house forever. Dad's accident was terrible, but I can't let it control my life. I just can't bear the thought of something happening to you. Please, David, just this once, stay home with me." Other times, she would just drift away and find comfort in the arms of different guys, and not gonna lie, my mom dated a bunch of guys over the years, but let me tell you, none of them could fill the hole Dad left behind. So she is still in the dating scene to this day. After my dad passed away and Mom was kinda in and out, I was left to fend for myself both emotionally and practically, and truth be told, I got pretty good at taking care of myself and got used to being alone with my hobbies. It was a rough and lonely upbringing, especially with Mom's behavior all over the place. Like sometimes she was there, other times she was lost in her own world of grief and distractions. But nonetheless, I learned to handle life's curveballs alone, and the scars from my childhood did sting sometimes, but they have made me who I am today. When I finally hit adulthood, I was dead set on getting out of the city for college. So when I got into BAC, I jumped on it and decided to head there for university, and was pumped to start fresh and make my own way. But even with all that distance, my mom's clingy habits stuck around. She would still hit me up with calls and used to drop by for visits and freak out about me being in the big city. So I figured her behavior was not going to change, and I just made peace with it. I gotta say, I lucked out big time after college, as I had interviewed with a bunch of architectural firms and got responses back from a ton of them as well, and I didn't have to stress much because I snagged a sweet job at this high-end firm pretty quickly. I was all in the design and construction world and was deep into a project when I first crossed paths with Chloe, now my wife. We were redoing this old office building, hashing out blueprints, and meeting with contractors when she strolled onto the construction site. She was repping the client and was his secretary at that time. Her confident vibe and sharp eye had caught my attention right away. And I could see that Chloe was super into architecture as we dug deep into it. Even though it wasn't her line of work, she really took part in the whole design game, and as the project moved along, so did our connection. We started spending more time together, whether it was brainstorming for the renovation or just chilling outside of work, and then started dating shortly after. As time went on, I just knew Chloe was the one for me, and so I decided to introduce her to my mom. I gotta admit, I was kinda worried about how Mom would take it, considering how possessive she could be. But I went for it anyway. When I finally got up the nerve to bring Chloe around, I was hoping for a warm welcome. But let me tell you, the reality did not match up with what I had in mind at all. From the moment we entered the house, I could feel the tension in the room. My mom's smile was polite, but one could easily tell she was not feeling it, and her eyes gave away her skepticism as she checked out Chloe. "Hi, Mrs. Adam. It's great to finally meet you." "Oh, it is nice to meet you, Chloe." "Mom, Chloe's been really excited to meet you." "Oh, has she now? Well, it is lovely to finally put a face to the name. David told me a lot about you. He said you are really into gardening. That is such a cool hobby." "Yes, well, I do enjoy it. But it takes a certain level of commitment and dedication, something I'm not sure everyone understands." "Mom? Come on. So what do you do for a living, Chloe?" "I work as a graphic designer at a marketing firm downtown." "Oh, how modern. And what are your plans for the future?" "Well, I hope to continue advancing in my career and maybe eventually start my own design studio." ambitious. But I suppose every young person has their dreams. Mom, can't you be a bit more welcoming? What? I'm simply asking questions, David. It's important to know who you are bringing into our lives. I understand, Mrs. Johnson. It's all right. All right, let's just sit down and enjoy dinner, okay? We can talk more later. So as the night went on, my mom's possessive streak kicked into high gear and she kept trying to hog all my attention, which left Chloe feeling totally left out and awkward. The tension between them just kept growing, which was clearly fueled by my mom's determination to control everything. I even tried to smooth things over and lighten the mood, but my mom was not having it. She was dead set against Chloe, and it put a real downer on what should have been a fun night. It was like Chloe's presence threatened my mom's grip on me, and this triggered her crazy protective vibe that bordered on possessive. By the end of the evening, I was stuck in the middle and was torn between the woman I loved and the mom who raised me. It was pretty tough seeing them clash like that, and my other option was saying goodbye to Chloe, which felt like a punch in the gut, so it was a no-go. And so I knew I was in for a bumpy ride. So after being with Chloe for a good while, we reached a point where we knew we wanted to commit for life, and so I proposed to her on our 4th-year dating anniversary, and we started planning the whole wedding thing shortly after. But even with all the excitement, my mom's doubts threw a wrench into our happiness. She had kind of warmed up to Chloe over time, but as the wedding plans kicked into high gear, her old concerns also came bubbling back up. She kept bringing up stuff about Chloe's background and upbringing, and I started wondering if she was really the right fit for me. I would not lie, her words hurt and threw major shade on what should have been a happy time for me. I tried to reassure her and told her how much I loved Chloe and how I believed in our future together. But she just couldn't shake those doubts, and it hung over me like a dark cloud. Despite the obstacles we faced, Chloe and I stuck together and just purely rode on our love to get us through. And as we dove into our married life, we hoped that with time, my mom would come around and see how strong our connection was. And that did happen, but at a shocking speed. After we got married, my mom did a 180 with Chloe. She went from skeptical to super mom-like and sweet. It was kind of nice to see it all, but it also caught me off guard. Sometimes, though, I would still get this vibe that mom wasn't totally on board with Chloe. But then she would turn around and do something that made me second-guess myself. It was confusing as heck. Mom, remember this picture from our trip to the beach when I was a kid? Oh yes, those were such wonderful times, weren't they? They really were. And now, Chloe and I are thinking of taking a trip to the beach next month. Oh, that sounds nice, dear. Is everything okay, Mom? You seem a bit reserved. Oh, it's nothing, dear. Just thinking about how quickly time flies. Mom, I know you and Chloe have not always seen eye to eye, but she really cares about you. Is there something you want to talk about? David, you know I adore Chloe. She is a lovely girl. It's just, sometimes I worry that Chloe does not appreciate all that you do for her. What do you mean, Mom? Well, she seems preoccupied with her own life, and I'm not sure she fully understands your needs. Chloe loves me, Mom, and she has always been there for me, no matter what. I know, dear, and I want what is best for you. I just hope Chloe realizes how lucky she is to have someone like you in her life. Thanks, Mom. But please, don't worry about this stuff and try to give her a chance. She means everything to me. I always got this vibe that Mom was low-key trying to turn me against Chloe. But honestly, I just brushed it off and didn't give it much thought. Her doubts and my own suspicions, I just shoved them to the back of my mind. So earlier this year, Chloe suddenly dropped this bombshell on me that she was pregnant. It was just a regular night, and we were chilling in our cozy living room when she hit me with the news. We both got teary-eyed with joy and spent the whole night chatting about what lay ahead. Hey David, can we talk for a minute? Sure, what's up? Well, you know how we have been trying for a baby. Yeah. Well, I just took a test, and I'm pregnant. Seriously? Oh my God, that is amazing. Yeah, I can't believe it either. I pulled her in for a hug and got all teary-eyed. This is incredible, Chloe. I'm so happy right now. Me too, David. I can't wait to start this journey with you. But then, when Chloe hit the 12-week mark, I got a call from my boss that flipped everything upside down. There was some urgent work stuff going down in Germany, and I had to jet off ASAP. It was a 3-week gig, and even though I hated the idea of leaving Chloe behind, I knew I had to go. The weight of it all was hitting me hard, and I felt so bad for bailing on Chloe during such a crucial time in her pregnancy. It made me feel all kinds of guilty and uneasy, and knowing that I wouldn't be there to support her through it sucked big time. So I knew that Chloe had been feeling pretty rough lately and was dealing with all the sickness and crazy hormonal stuff that came with pregnancy, and I was worried sick because I knew she needed someone to look after her or just be there for her at this time. But the problem was that her parents were way out in California, and flying was a no-go according to our doctor. Plus, her mom just couldn't swing by. So I called up Mom and asked her if she would come to Boston, and to my surprise, she jumped on board right away and was pumped to take care of Chloe. Seeing Mom all excited about helping out Chloe kinda eased my mind, but I still felt this heavy weight in my chest as I said goodbye to Chloe and Mom. I promised to keep in touch and do whatever I could from there, and was just hoping and praying that everything would be okay while I was away. But man, things took a turn for the worst. It was the start of my third week in Berlin, and I was roaming around the city for work when my phone blew up. It was Chloe, and her voice came through all choked up and full of tears and sobs. Before I could ask, she, through her shaky words, dropped the bombshell that rocked me to my core. "David, I don't know how to say this." "What? What is wrong, Chloe? Is everything okay? You are scaring me." "No, David, everything is not okay. Nothing is okay. Just calm down a little, Chloe, and tell me what happened, okay?" I lost the baby, David. The doctor said I had a miscarriage. I was very cautious, babe. I have no idea how this happened." "Oh my God." "Chloe, it is not your fault, babe. I'm so sorry. I wish I was there with you right now. Just know you did nothing, okay? It hurts so much, David. I don't know how to deal with this." "I know, babe. I wish I could be there to hold you. But I'm here for you, okay? We will get through this together, I promise." "I don't know what to do. I feel so lost and empty." "It's okay to feel that way, Chloe. Just know that I love you, and we will get through this together. I will come home as soon as I can." "Thank you, David. I love you." Hearing Chloe say those words had literally knocked me flat, and for a moment my brain was unable to process what was coming out of her mouth, and even though we were miles apart, I could feel her pain like it was right there next to me. Plus, when I heard her voice crack over the phone, I felt this wave of helplessness crash over me, and I hated that I could not be there to hold her and tell her that everything was going to be okay. It ate me up inside, knowing that I was on the other side of the world when she needed me most. In the midst of all the shock and sadness, I tried my best to comfort her and promised to be back ASAP. But deep down, I knew that my words could only do so much and that she was hurting badly, and there was not much I could do to fix it from where I was. So, I decided to bail on my business trip and hopped on a flight back to the States to be with Chloe. I filled in my boss real quick about the whole situation, and he was cool about it. After that, everything moved so fast that I did not even have time to give Chloe a heads up about my return. And so right before boarding, I tried calling her, but she didn't pick up. I figured Mom was probably with her, so I rang her up instead and told her I was on my way and asked her to let Chloe know too, because I thought it would give her some peace of mind. Mom promised to pass on the message and to keep me posted on everything. So, when I got back home from the airport hours later, I walked into a scene that totally knocked the wind out of me. I saw Chloe sitting in the living room, wrapped up in a hug with Josh, her bestie, and tears were rolling down her cheeks, while he whispered words of comfort in her ear. Now, Josh and Chloe go way back, like childhood buddy level, and I had known this all along. They are practically like family, so I was not insecure about their bond or anything. But still, seeing him there instead of me, offering her support, stung a bit. Plus, Chloe had not been in touch with him much lately because he lived out in California and hardly ever came to Boston. So, his sudden appearance had caught me off guard. I gotta admit, it was kinda hard to wrap my head around the whole scene because I was expecting to find Chloe either alone or with Mom, waiting for me, but instead she was getting comforted by Josh. I played it cool though, as I did not want to cause a scene at such a trivial thing. Then as soon as Chloe saw me, she came running over with tears in her eyes, and I hugged her tight, knowing that she had been crying for a long time already. Later on, I found out that Mom had actually bumped into Josh at the store recently and had invited him over to offer Chloe some support on the exact same day I was arriving, and also forgot to tell her I was coming back. The whole thing felt a bit off to me, but I brushed it aside and focused on being there for Chloe. So later that night, after Josh had gone and Chloe had crashed from all that crying, I was sitting in the living room with Mom and my head was spinning with all the confusion and depression about our future. Then, out of the blue, my mom's voice cut through the quiet, full of urgency and worry, and she started dropping hints about Chloe's loyalty and suggested that she might not be as faithful as I thought. She was basically trying to plant seeds of doubt in my head about her and Josh and trying to tell me that they were dating behind my back and that Chloe was cheating on me. At first, I pushed back because there was no way I was about to entertain the idea that my wife would do something like that to me. But as Mom keeps spinning her tale of deceit and betrayal, I start to second-guess everything. I started questioning Chloe's explanations and started replaying that night over and over, looking for any sign that could back up Mom's claims. And then, Mom hit me with another one of her stupid revelations and said that Chloe did not have a miscarriage at all, but an abortion because she did not want my kid. I was floored to hear this. Firstly, it made no sense, but it still came like a gut punch and left me all stunned and in doubt about everything I thought I knew. And in that moment, my mom's words really cut deep and tapped into all my fears and insecurities. And even though I tried not to pay much heed to my mom's words, this mixed feeling of anger and betrayal clouded my thoughts, that maybe Chloe might have lied to me. David, I have been noticing some things lately and I think you need to hear them. What's up, Mom? It is about Chloe. I have been seeing some stuff that makes me think that she's cheating on you, son. I hate to say it, but I think you should know. What? That is crazy, Mom. Chloe would never do that. I know it is hard to hear, but you need to open your eyes, honey. I have seen them together and believe me, it is not right. No way, Mom. Chloe has been nothing but loyal to me and I trust her completely. I am just looking out for you, David. I don't want to see you get hurt. I appreciate your concern, Mom, but I know Chloe. She is not like that. Fine. If you don't want to listen to me, then hear this. What if Chloe is dating Josh and what if she didn't have a miscarriage but got an abortion because she did not want your child? That is enough, Mom. What is wrong with you? I would not listen to you badmouth Chloe like that. You have crossed a line. David, please. I was so torn between the two as part of me wanted to believe Chloe and wanted to stand by her no matter what. But then there was this nagging doubt planted by my mom that just would not go away. The next day, Chloe had a doctor's appointment, so we headed over there. When we were sitting in the waiting room, there was this heavy vibe in the air, like something was off, and then the doctor dropped the bomb, that the miscarriage was not coincidental but was caused by some meds that Chloe should not have been taking while being pregnant. My heart just sank hearing that, and guilt washed over me like a tidal wave, and I just wasn't able to wrap my head around how we had ended up here. I looked over at Chloe and hoped for some answers, but she just stayed quiet and was lost in her own thoughts with her eyes glued to the floor. It wasn't until we had some alone time later that night that Chloe finally opened up about everything. She told me that my mom had been the one giving her meds for the past few weeks and that she insisted on helping out, being all sweet about it. She also told me that she suspected Mom had messed up and given her the wrong meds, which led to the miscarriage. Hey babe, what's going on? You seem kinda off. David, there is something I need to tell you. It is about Susan. Mom? What about her? Well, while you were away on that work trip, she started insisting on giving me my daily meds. What? Why would she do that? I don't know. She said she wanted to help take care of me while you were gone and she was all sweet and nice about it, but now, I'm not so sure. Wait, what do you mean? I think those meds she gave me might have caused the miscarriage. Oh my God. Are you serious, Chloe? I hate to say it, David, but there is no other way to explain it. I did not take any other meds on my own, and the doctor straight up said it was the meds that caused the problem. Plus, I clearly remember Susan switching up all my meds and saying that they were better and that she had even double-checked with our doctor. I was feeling so crappy and exhausted back then that I believed her and I did not even think twice about it. I can't believe this. Why would she do something like that? I don't know, David, but I had to tell you. This has been eating me up from the morning. Thank you for telling me, Chloe. We will figure this out together, I promise. As Chloe spilled the beans about what went down, my head was spinning with disbelief and rage, and I felt this wave of betrayal and fury crashing over me as I tried to wrap my head around what she was saying. I was stuck in this messed up tug of war between my mom and my wife and had no idea whom to believe. Plus, I was dealing with the loss of our baby too, so it was all too freaking much to handle and I was on the verge of losing it. My brain was in total shutdown mode and I had no clue what to do next. All I knew was I had to confront Mom right then and there. And so I headed towards her room and heard some whispers coming from the inside. I stopped at the door and realized that Mom was on the phone with her boyfriend Mark. But it was not his call that got me, it was what Mom was saying. Her words were dripping with venom and deceit, and I was shocked to a whole nother level when I heard her. I made sure to give her the pills every day, just like I had planned. And now I have got David convinced that Chloe was cheating on him too. He'll never suspect a thing. I literally stood frozen in the doorway, and my mind whirled with a flurry of emotions, anger, betrayal, and I felt like I was drowning in sadness. But in the middle of all the craziness, one thing had become very clear: my mom's actions were driven by a toxic mix of jealousy, insecurity, and a desperate need for control. For years, she had struggled to accept that I had grown up and moved on with my life, and her clingy behavior and constant meddling were all because she was scared of losing me, her only son, to another woman. When Chloe came along, Mom saw her as a threat and as someone who could snatch me away from her, and she thought that if she could drive us apart, she could keep her grip on me. But in her quest for control, my mom had gone way too far, and as I stood outside her room, hearing her spill everything, I knew things would never be the same between us. I decided to confront her there and then. I was boiling with rage as I stormed into her room, and my heart was pounding with betrayal, and seeing her act all chill and chatting with her boyfriend like she had not just confessed to tearing my marriage apart and killing my child set me off like a madman. How could you? How could you do something so despicable, so utterly unforgivable? David, darling, I don't know what you're talking about. Her false innocence was pushing my buttons even more. Don't play dumb with me. I heard everything: your sickening confession about giving Chloe those pills, about manipulating me into thinking she was cheating on me. How could you do this to us? David, I was just trying to protect you. I thought she wasn't good enough for you, that she would hurt you. I never meant for things to go this far. Protect me? You call this protecting me? You destroyed my marriage, you killed my child. You don't understand, David. I was only trying to look out for you, to keep you safe from someone who didn't deserve you. Get out. Get out of my house, and don't you ever come back. You're not my mother anymore. After finding out about my mom's backstabbing move, I was totally fired up for some payback, and there was no way I was going to let her off the hook after all the hurt she had put Chloe and me through. I was dead set on getting back at my mom for what she did. Words alone were not going to cut it, as I was boiling mad and hurt, and I wanted her to feel what I had felt. So I came up with a plan to hit her where it hurt and to show her the pain she had put us through. I was going to take away everything she cared about, just like she had taken away my happiness and future with Chloe. I started by cutting all ties with her and basically ending whatever was left of our messed up relationship. I also kicked her out of my will and made sure she wouldn't get a dime from anything I achieved. I made it crystal clear that she was out of my life for good and that she had lost her spot in my heart forever. But that was not enough. I wanted her to feel the same pain Chloe and I went through, and so I cooked up a plan to shatter her world, just like she shattered ours. I spilled the beans about her lies and tricks to everyone and let the whole world see the real monster she was for killing my child. And to top it all off, I hit her where it really hurt, and that was by cutting her off completely. No calls, no texts, nothing. I let her stew in her own guilt and let her know that she had wrecked any chance of fixing things with her only son. Now seeing her world crash down because of her lies felt pretty damn satisfying. My revenge was done, and I know that it could never erase the pain she had caused, especially losing my kid and trying to wreck my marriage, but it was something. As I walked away from her for good, I promised myself I would never let anyone mess with me or my family again. I learned the hard way that sometimes the best revenge is just moving on and finding happiness despite those who try to drag you down.